By saying, watching you testify makes my blood boil. I'm not sure that I'm aware of any family in America that's more evil than yours.
That's a sitting member of the United States Congress talking to a billionaire about his own family. More Americans have died from the opioid crisis this pill helped ignite than in every war the U.S. has fought since Vietnam, combined. And the family that made it didn't go to prison. They went to a museum gala. You've probably walked past their name and had no idea what it was actually paid for. This is the story of how one family got rich, pretending a drug they knew was dangerous, was safe. The drug was called OxyContin, and for nearly 3 decades, it made one family unimaginably rich, while an entire country quietly fell apart. If you're new here, this channel covers stories like this every week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. 1996. A launch party in a private hall. A new painkiller is about to hit the market. A slow-release opioid Purdue Pharma calls OxyContin. The man giving the toast is Dr. Richard Sackler, a member of the family that owns the company. According to court documents later unsealed, Sackler asked the room to imagine a series of natural disasters: an earthquake, a hurricane, and most of all, a blizzard. He told the room the launch of OxyContin would be followed by, quote, a blizzard of prescriptions that will bury the competition. He said it would be so deep, dense, and white that no one would see it coming. Over the next 20 years, according to prosecutors, the Sacklers made that boast come true. They just didn't mention what the blizzard would actually bury. Purdue's pitch to doctors was simple. OxyContin's slow-release formula meant patients got pain relief for 12 hours at a time, and because it released slowly, the company claimed it carried a lower risk of addiction than other opioids. Purdue sent sales reps to visit doctors' offices across the country, armed with that message, and according to court filings, financial incentives tied directly to how many prescriptions those doctors wrote. It worked. Prescriptions exploded. By the early 2000s, OxyContin was generating over $1 billion a year for Purdue, and for the Sacklers personally.
Fact is, this is a worldwide problem.
Tonight, President Donald Trump.
So I'll ask you again, will you apologize for the role you played in the opioid crisis?
I have struggled with that question. I have asked myself over many years. I have tried to figure out, is there anything that I could have done differently knowing what I knew then, not what I know now? And I have to say, there's nothing that I can find that I would have done differently based on what I believed and understood then and what I learned from management and the reports to.
The company which manufactured that drug represented that this would be a safer way of having prescription opioids go into the American medical system. Nothing could have been further from the truth. Because oxycodone...
A president, a senator, a member of Congress, a member of the family herself, under oath, all talking about the same thing. Now here's how it actually happened. By 2001, the warning signs were already surfacing. Pharmacy benefit managers were flagging concerns. Doctors in rural communities were reporting patients becoming dependent, then desperate.
Fives aren't working right. I need something stronger.
Then addicted. Instead of pulling back, court documents show Richard Sackler wrote an internal email that year with a different strategy. His words, from that email, we have to hammer on the abusers in every way possible. They are the culprits and the problem. Not the drug, not the marketing, the patients. Blame the patient, protect the profit. That became the pattern. In 2007, Purdue Pharma and 3 of its top executives pleaded guilty in federal court to fraudulently marketing OxyContin. The company paid $600 million in fines. For a company generating over $1 billion a year, $600 million barely registered. No Sackler family member personally admitted wrongdoing. Sales continued. Profits continued. Meanwhile, overdose deaths tied to prescription opioids kept climbing, moving from cities into small towns across Appalachia and the Rust Belt. communities that had never seen an epidemic like this before. While all of this was happening, the Sackler name was appearing somewhere else entirely, on museum walls. For decades, the family had donated hundreds of millions of dollars to some of the most respected cultural institutions in the world, wings named in their honor at major museums across the US and Europe. To the public, the Sackler name meant philanthropy, culture, refinement. Almost no one connecting that name to a pill bottle in their parents' medicine cabinet. But by 2008, according to unsealed family communications, the Sacklers themselves were privately using a different phrase. One internal memo warned of what it called a dangerous concentration of risk for the family's own reputation and finances. They weren't worried about the epidemic. They were worried about being connected to it. By 2019, thousands of lawsuits from state and local governments had piled up against Purdue and the Sackler family. Facing the weight of it all, Purdue filed for bankruptcy. What followed was one of the longest, most contested bankruptcy cases in U.S. history. Family members had already withdrawn billions of dollars from the company in the years before the filing. Money, plaintiffs argued, was moved specifically to shield it from the lawsuits to come. In 2024, family members of victims were finally given the chance to speak directly to Sackler family members in bankruptcy court. Nearly 140,000 people had filed claims against Purdue. In the end, less than half of them will receive anything at all. For those who do, the payout can be as little as $3,500 for the person who lost a parent, a spouse, a child. In 2026, after nearly a decade of legal battles, including a Supreme Court ruling that struck down an earlier version of the deal, a final settlement went into effect. $7.4 billion, the largest settlement in the history of opioid litigation. It sounds like justice, but remember the math from a moment ago. Most of the people who actually filed claims will never see a cent of it. The deal permanently barred the Sackler family from ever selling opioids in the United States again and stripped their ownership of the company entirely. Purdue's operations were handed to a new, independent entity with a mandate to fund addiction treatment instead of profiting from addiction. The money, paid out over 15 years, is meant to fund treatment, prevention, and recovery programs in the same communities the crisis hit hardest. But no member of the Sackler family has ever been criminally charged. Not one of them has ever gone to prison. Somewhere, a wing still bears the family's name. Somewhere else, a family is visiting a grave. The blizzard Richard Sackler promised in 1996 did bury the competition, and it buried a great deal more than that. Let me know in the comments. Did you know the Sackler name before this? Drop a like and subscribe. A new story like this every week.